Hello everyone, Nougat here, and welcome to another match of Littlewargame. Today I'm bringing you a game played on Sylvan Charm between Aicy and his opponent Sqrtofneg1, playing with the blue pieces in the bottom right hand of this map. And then obviously playing the red pieces is Aicy in the top left-hand corner. We do see that Sqrtofneg1 is going for a barracks opening to start off this game, and it looks like his opponent Aicy is going for a very similar, very similar opening. We're probably going to see maybe some raiders, maybe some archers. I'm very excited to see what kind of opening they decide to go for. And you know, these building placements on this map is also a very interesting choice as well. Obviously, with any map, you have the choice of going to barracks and potentially going for a raider all-in early into the game. But this placement of buildings is like perfectly situated in order to block raiders from being able to kind of mass up and do a lot of damage. Potentially they could blink forward and over any units that are in this choke, but obviously they would not be as effective as if there could be multiple units here. It's also good for holding wolf all-ins, as this is a pretty large map, which means that wolf dens are probably more likely to be proxied on this side of the map if you're trying to go for a wolf all-in. But in this case, we do not see either player going for any sort of all-ins. This seems to be a very standard opening between both players. Aicy going for 2 raiders into his expand, while Sqrtofneg1 is going for 2 archers into his expand, expanding into his in-base castle location. We also see Aicy is moving his raider across the map. He's trying to get some information. Let's go ahead and take a look at what he's going to see. Obviously, he's probably going to be confused by why there's no buildings here or the lack of a castle. But we do see that Aicy is now able to scout the fact that these units are located here, and he's able to kind of move back away from this from these archers. Something that's an interesting choice, and I'm very curious to see what the answer on this is, because I'm not quite sure at the moment what it is. But for me, I prefer opening very similar to what Aicy has done in this match, where he opens with building a house here, building a barracks here, and then building a castle. These are always units you're going to be building in the early game, especially if you're going for a RAX opening. It's very safe. It's very standard. And I personally think that having these buildings here protects this base, and also this base, whereas Sqrtofneg1 is probably going to have a hard time taking his 3rd castle, simply because he doesn't have the natural defensive positioning that he would have if he had these buildings located down the ramp instead of up here. But I will say the trade-off does seem to benefit Sqrtofneg1 because any aggressive openings would have been blocked by this building placement, whereas like a proxy opening would have been really hard to deflect with this building opening. So there's trade-offs for sure. We do see that Sqrtofneg is moving towards the middle of the map. Aicy is doing a good job of tracking these archers. At least that's what it seemed to be like. He's definitely trying to find where they are. You saw that they were visible for just a moment there, and then obviously Aicy is now having to pull workers because it looks like Sqrtofneg1 is trying to go for this kind of this all-in play. Well, not all in, but definitely some aggression. He definitely wants to get some resources, especially we see that Aicy was kind of greedy and went for an expansion before he had the units to kind of defend against a push like this. But now we do see that this watchtower is up, and this push is deflected. At the same time, we can take a look on the other side of the map and see that Square Root is starting to get his third. Let's take a look at the income tab here. We see that Aicy is currently ahead in terms of income. He's got about 100 more mining per minute than his opponent does, but he's taken more losses so far. As we can see, Aicy's taken about 270 losses at this point. It's going to be very difficult to deflect this army, but we do see that Aicy has gone for this workshop, and now he's got some catapults, and catapults do a fantastic job of dealing with these archers. And now we see that Aicy is kind of having to position, having to kind of balance this this aggression, and Sqrtofneg1 is feeling a little bit trapped, I would say. Definitely, if these units could have potentially gotten here, there's a big possibility that that these archers would have been trapped. We do see that Aicy has his second workshop now. He's also going for a forge, so he might be trying to do some catadrop in the future. Unfortunately, I don't see any advanced workshop. Potentially, that's what this is for. Nope, just building a house. Let's go ahead and take a look at the production tab. It looks like Square Root is the one that's going for an advanced workshop here. He's starting to potentially, it looks like he might want to go into some airships. Additionally, now that Aicy has some catapults, he might be suspecting that that there's going to be some catapult drops. And now we do see that Aicy has put down the advanced workshop. He is starting to build it, and this will give him access to those airships, which are fantastic for doing some catadrops. I'm very curious to see what Aicy starts in terms of his upgrades on his forge, and it is that +1 mechanical attack upgrade. So Aicy is going to be able to set up a very strong catadrop once he's able to get these airships out. Once +1 mechanical attack is finished, you're able to basically one-shot worker lines with 2 catapults. So 2 catapult attacks will be able to kill a worker, and obviously you can see that these workers are bunched up right at the gold mine. So any catapults that attack this worker line will instantly be able to kill workers. So Aicy is definitely setting up a good +1 catapult drop soon. But at the same time, we do see that Sqrtofneg1 this whole time has been positioning himself on the other side of the map. He's definitely been doing a good job of maintaining control of the map. We can even see his vision. He's able to get a 4th base on the other side. It's not a typical 4th base location. We normally see one over here, but Sqrtofneg1 is getting his 4th base here. And at the same time, we see that Aicy is still stuck on 3 bases. Obviously, it's very difficult to move out when your opponent has a lot of control over the map. And now we see these airships are starting to come in. Sqrtofneg1 has this airship on the other side of the map, but Aicy does have some units at home to be able to protect against this. So Aicy pulls some workers. Aicy has this army at home, and then Sqrtofneg1 is also continuing to pick up units so that he can continue to drop into his opponent's base and do some damage with these drops. It looks like he's trying to get his entire army inside of his opponent's main base. We do see that catapults are still at the 3rd, and they're not being used to defend against this. They may be lifted up soon, either to help defend against this, but this is really interesting. We're just saying that Sqrtofneg1 is getting a ton of damage done to this worker line with these archers. He's definitely definitely putting a lot of pressure. Like, he's in his opponent's main base. At this point, he's obviously made it so that Aicy can't mine from his second base here. And Sqrtofneg1 is just doing a fantastic job of approaching and being as aggressive as he possibly can. And this was all facilitated because of this airship. He was able to drop basically his entire army into his opponent's base. And now he's able to lift off, knowing that he's done quite a considerable amount of damage to his opponent, even delaying his Aicy's return to his second base. And let's take a look at the income tab. As we can see, Sqrtofneg1 is currently mining considerable about 300 more gold than his opponent, obviously mining more this game and losing considerably less gold here. So the red player or the blue player here is obviously very ahead. Oh, this is very interesting. Sqrtofneg1 is using this airship as like almost as like a catapult drop. He's being very annoying to deal with. Obviously, having these units still alive, and you know these ballistas are very you know they take a while to get out. But obviously the counter is to kill this airship up here. But obviously the ballista aren't out, and as long as they're not out, Sqrtofneg1 can be as annoying as he wants to be. Eventually the ballista does come out. Sqrtofneg1 either needs to move away now, which he does do, but obviously he's still vulnerable. I'm curious to see if Aicy decides to pick up the ballista with this airship. Does not. Man, so that was basically like, I want to say like 3 minutes of like juggling around the bases and trying to defend against this kind of wacky, crazy drop that was going on. Sqrtofneg1 doing a very good job of being diligent with his resources with these airships that are coming out. And then at the same time, he's got this ballista. He's got this castle that's been constructed. This is a very interesting position to put a castle. Obviously, it's much safer than having it on the low ground. But it's less efficient at mining this gold base because all the workers have to move kind of around this this cliff face. But at this point of the game, Sqrtofneg1 is so far ahead that he can kind of just go for safe bases, even though they're less efficient, and he'll know that he'll be okay. At the same time, we do see this this run by. Very curious to see if Aicy has anything to kind of respond to this. He does have some units there. But obviously that's kind of, you know, it's not enough yet to kind of stop Aicy's aggression, or Sqrtofneg1's aggression. And then we do see that Aicy calls GG just from all that aggression that Sqrtofneg1 was able to put on the map. I was not thinking that this game would end so quickly. I actually thought that Aicy may have tried to, I don't know, keep his bases up, try to keep his forces alive. Apparently, Sqrtofneg1 got his archers back in his opponent's main base, and you know at that point, Aicy really did not have a lot of army to kind of deflect a lot of this. So a lot of his economy was dying really quickly. Yeah, that was such an interesting mech game, right? Or a RAX game in particular, right? We got to see this very defensive opening, going for the two bases, being happy to stay on two bases for a little bit, and then going for this two base push, and then he followed it up with getting his third. Obviously, you know, at that point he was a little bit behind. But then he got this airship and was able to drop in his opponent's base, and there wasn't enough army to kind of protect the workers here. So well played by both of these opponents. Obviously both of them are fantastic players. Sqrtofneg1 is playing this game like all the time. He's a developer, and so is Aicy, playing all the time, playing definitely veterans of the game. So it's fantastic to see two veterans of the game play against each other and see the conclusion that we had. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.